Welcome to episode 79 of the Peak Performance Podcast. Today, we're diving deep into the world of elite athletes, not just what makes them exceptional, but how you can harness their strategies, mindset, and training methods to transform your own performance. Whether you're an aspiring athlete, a fitness enthusiast, or simply someone who wants to operate at your highest level, this episode will give you the blueprint to train like the best in the world. The elite athlete mindset. What separates elite athletes from the rest isn't just physical talent, it's a fundamentally different way of thinking. Elite athletes possess an unwavering belief in their ability to improve, a concept psychologists call a growth mindset. They view challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to refine their craft. When they fail, they don't see it as a reflection of their worth. They see it as data, feedback that tells them where to focus next. This mindset is cultivated through years of deliberate practice and self reflection. Elite athletes understand that talent is just the starting point. What matters more is the daily commitment to getting 1% better, the discipline to show up even when motivation wanes, and the courage to push beyond comfort zones repeatedly. They've learned to embrace discomfort as a signal of growth rather than a reason to retreat. The good news? This mindset isn't reserved for those born with exceptional genetics. It's a skill you can develop through intentional practice. Start by reframing how you talk to yourself about challenges. Instead of, I can't do this, try, I can't do this yet. That single word, yet, opens up a world of possibility and positions you on the path of continuous improvement that defines elite performance. Physical characteristics that define elite performance. Exceptional VO2 max. Elite endurance athletes possess remarkable cardiovascular efficiency with VO2 max levels that can be 50 to 80% higher than average individuals. This measures the maximum amount of oxygen your body can utilize during intense exercise. Superior power to weight ratio. Top performers optimize their strength relative to body mass, allowing them to generate explosive force without carrying excess weight. This ratio is crucial across almost every sport. Enhanced recovery systems. Elite athletes recover faster than average individuals with more efficient inflammatory responses, better sleep architecture, and optimized hormonal profiles that support rapid tissue repair. While genetics play a role in these physical characteristics, research shows that proper training can dramatically improve all three areas. Your cardiovascular system, muscular efficiency, and recovery mechanisms are all highly adaptable. The key is understanding how to train these systems systematically, using both time-tested methods and cutting-edge science. Over the next several sections, we'll explore exactly how to develop these elite physical traits, starting with strategies you can implement immediately and progressing to advanced techniques used by Olympic-level athletes. The foundation: building aerobic capacity. Before you can train like an elite athlete, you need to build the foundation that supports all high-level performance: aerobic capacity. This is your body's ability to use oxygen efficiently to produce energy over extended periods. Elite athletes spend the majority of their training time, often 80% or more, working at relatively low intensities that build this aerobic base. This might seem counterintuitive. Shouldn't elite training be about pushing to your limits constantly? Actually, no. The athletes at the top of their game understand that building a massive aerobic engine creates the platform for everything else. When your aerobic system is robust, you recover faster between high intensity efforts, you can sustain higher work rates for longer periods, and you're less likely to get injured. The key metric here is training in what's called zone 2, an intensity where you can still hold a conversation, but you're definitely working. For most people, this is about 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. At this intensity, your body becomes remarkably efficient at using fat for fuel, building new mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, and expanding your network of capillaries that deliver oxygen to working muscles. Start by incorporating 3 to 4 sessions per week of Zone 2 training, lasting anywhere from 30 minutes to several hours depending on your current fitness level. This could be jogging, cycling, swimming, or even brisk walking. The key is consistency and patience. Your aerobic system takes months to fully develop, but the payoff is enormous. Elite athletes know that this unglamorous, steady state work is what allows them to perform their best when it matters most. Power of periodization. Base phase. Build aerobic foundation with high volume, low intensity training. Focus on technique and consistency for 8 to 12 weeks. Build phase. Increase training intensity while maintaining volume. Introduce sport specific work and strength training for 6 to 8 weeks. Peak phase. Maximize intensity, reduce volume. Sharp focus on race pace efforts and competition simulation for 3 to 4 weeks. Recovery phase. Active recovery and regeneration. Light activity. Focus on mobility and mental rest for 1 to 2 weeks before next cycle. Elite athletes don't train the same way year round. They use a systematic approach called periodization, which strategically varies training stress to optimize adaptation while preventing burnout and overtraining. This cycle of building, stressing, and recovering is what allows athletes to reach new performance peaks season after season. The beauty of periodization is that it works at any level. Whether you're training for your first 5K or your 10th Ironman, organizing your training into distinct phases with specific goals ensures you're always progressing toward your ultimate objective. Each phase builds on the previous one, creating a progressive overload that your body can adapt to without breaking down. Most importantly, periodization recognizes that rest and recovery aren't the absence of training. They're an essential component of the training process itself. Strength training, the non-negotiable component. One of the biggest mistakes recreational athletes make is neglecting strength training. They think that if they want to run faster, they should just run more. If they want to cycle better, they should just ride more. Elite athletes know better. Strength training is the secret weapon that amplifies performance in every sport while simultaneously reducing injury risk. When you build strength, you're doing several things: increasing the force your muscles can produce, improving the stiffness and responsiveness of your tendons, enhancing neuromuscular coordination, and building resilience in your connective tissues. All of this translates directly to better performance. A stronger runner has a more powerful stride. A stronger cyclist can sustain higher power outputs. A stronger swimmer pulls through the water with greater force. Elite athletes typically incorporate 2 to 3 strength sessions per week, even during competitive seasons. These sessions focus on compound movements, exercises that work multiple muscle groups simultaneously, like squats, deadlifts, presses, and pulls. The goal isn't to build massive muscles, it's to build functional strength that directly supports your primary sport or activity. Nutrition, fueling elite performance, protein timing, and quality. Elite athletes consume 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily, distributed across 4 to 5 meals. They prioritize complete proteins and consume 20 to 40 grams within 2 hours post-training to optimize muscle protein synthesis. Carbohydrate periodization. Rather than eating the same amount of carbs daily, elite athletes match carbohydrate intake to training demands. High intensity days get 6 to 10 grams per kilogram body weight, while recovery days might only need 3 to 5 grams per kilogram. Strategic hydration. Top performers don't wait until they're thirsty. They monitor urine color, track body weight before and after training, and replace 150% of fluid losses. They also consume electrolytes during sessions longer than 60 minutes. Micronutrient optimization. Elite athletes regularly test and optimize levels of vitamin D, iron, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids. These micronutrients directly impact energy production, recovery, and immune function. Nutrition is where many aspiring athletes leave significant performance gains on the table. Elite athletes treat nutrition with the same precision they apply to their training. They understand that what you eat directly impacts your ability to train hard, recover quickly, and perform at your best. The strategies above aren't complicated, but they require consistency and attention to detail. Hallmarks of elite performance in every domain. Sleep, the ultimate performance enhancer. If there's one area where elite athletes outperform the general population most dramatically, it's sleep. While the average person gets 6 to 7 hours of sleep per night, elite athletes consistently get 8 to 10 hours, and many take naps on top of that. This isn't because they're lazy, it's because they understand that sleep is when adaptation happens. All the hard training you do is just the stimulus. The actual improvements in strength, speed, and endurance occur during sleep. During deep sleep, your body releases growth hormone, which drives muscle repair and regeneration. During REM sleep, your brain consolidates motor learning and processes the technical skills you practice during training. Poor sleep disrupts both of these processes, essentially wasting the training stimulus you work so hard to create. Studies show that athletes who sleep less than 8 hours per night have significantly higher injury rates, slower reaction times, and decreased motivation. Elite athletes treat sleep with the same seriousness they treat training. They maintain consistent sleep schedules even on weekends. They optimize their sleep environment, cool temperatures, 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, complete darkness, minimal noise. They avoid screens for 1 to 2 hours before bed or use blue light blocking glasses. They establish wind down routines that signal to their body it's time to rest. Some use sleep tracking devices to monitor sleep quality and identify areas for improvement. Perhaps most importantly, elite athletes prioritize sleep over almost everything else. If a choice comes down to an extra hour of training or an extra hour of sleep, they choose sleep. They understand that being well rested allows them to train harder and more effectively, creating a positive cycle of stress and recovery that drives continuous improvement. If you take nothing else from this episode, take this: prioritize your sleep. It might be the single most impactful change you can make to your performance. Recovery modalities, ancient and modern. Beyond the fundamental pillars of sleep and nutrition, elite athletes leverage a diverse array of recovery modalities to optimize their physical and mental restoration. This proactive approach to recovery isn't just about feeling better. It's a strategic imperative to absorb demanding training loads, minimize injury risk, and sustain peak performance over long seasons and careers. The ability to recover effectively allows athletes to train harder and more frequently, driving continuous adaptation and improvement. These recovery methods span from time honored traditional practices to the latest technological innovations. While each modality offers unique benefits, the ultimate goal remains constant: to accelerate the body's repair processes, reduce fatigue, alleviate muscle soreness, and prepare the athlete for their next challenge. Traditional methods: massage therapy for muscle tension release, improved circulation, and fascial manipulation. Contrast bathing, alternating hot and cold water immersion, to reduce inflammation and promote blood flow. Active recovery sessions at very low intensity, e.g., light cycling, swimming, or walking. Stretching and mobility work, static, dynamic, PNF, to restore range of motion and prevent stiffness. Meditation and breath work for nervous system regulation, stress reduction, and mental clarity. Foam rolling and self-myofascial release techniques to address trigger points and muscle knots. Yoga and Pilates for flexibility, core strength, and body awareness, aiding in muscular balance. Acupuncture or dry needling for localized pain relief and muscle dysfunction. Modern technologies: compression garments to reduce muscle oscillation, improve venous return, and mitigate swelling. Pneumatic compression devices, e.g., Normatec boots, for targeted lymphatic drainage and circulation enhancement. Cryotherapy chambers, whole body or localized, for systemic inflammation reduction and analgesic effects. Infrared saunas for heat stress adaptation, detoxification, and muscle relaxation. Neuromuscular electrical stimulation, NMES, for muscle reeducation, recovery, and pain management. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, HBOT, to accelerate healing and reduce recovery time by increasing oxygen delivery to tissues. Wearable recovery trackers, e.g., Ring, Whoop, to monitor physiological markers like HRV, sleep and skin temperature for data-driven recovery insights, cold laser therapy, low-level light therapy for cellular repair and reduction of pain and inflammation. Elite athletes are constantly experimenting with recovery modalities, both ancient practices and cutting-edge technologies. The goal is simple: recover faster so you can train harder more frequently. While some of these methods have strong scientific backing and others are more anecdotal, most elite athletes use a combination approach, selecting tools that work for their body and their sport. Let's delve into the mechanisms behind some of the most effective and commonly used recovery modalities. Massage therapy. Often considered a cornerstone of athletic recovery, massage therapy works through several pathways. Mechanically, it can help break down adhesions in muscle tissue, improve flexibility, and reduce muscle stiffness. Physiologically, it increases local blood circulation, which aids in flushing out metabolic waste products and delivering oxygen and nutrients to fatigued muscles. It also has a significant psychological benefit, promoting relaxation and reducing perceived soreness, which can lower stress hormones and facilitate overall recovery. While its direct impact on lactic acid removal is debated, its role in pain modulation and promoting tissue healing is well supported by evidence. Contrast bathing, hot cold immersion. This technique involves alternating between hot and cold water. The rapid temperature changes cause cycles of vasoconstriction, blood vessel narrowing, and vasodilation, blood vessel widening. This pumping action is theorized to improve blood flow, reduce muscle swelling, and flush inflammatory mediators from the muscles. Research suggests contrast water therapy can reduce delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, and perceived fatigue, though the exact physiological mechanisms are still being fully elucidated. Compression therapy. Compression garments and pneumatic compression devices apply external pressure to the limbs. This pressure helps improve venous return, reducing the accumulation of fluid and metabolic byproducts in the muscles. It also limits muscle oscillation during activity, potentially reducing muscle damage. Evidence supports its effectiveness in reducing muscle soreness, swelling, and improving perceived recovery after intense exercise. The mechanical support can also enhance proprioception and reduce the sensation of fatigue. Sauna use, infrared and traditional. Saunas induce a state of hyperthermia, increasing core body temperature. This heat stress can lead to beneficial adaptations, including increased heat shock proteins, improved cardiovascular function, and enhanced detoxification through sweating. Infrared saunas specifically use infrared light to penetrate tissues more deeply at lower ambient temperatures. Both types of saunas are used for muscle relaxation, pain relief, and psychological unwinding, contributing to overall recovery and well-being, with some research indicating benefits for cardiovascular health and endurance performance. Choosing your recovery protocol. The optimal recovery strategy is highly individualized. Consider your training phase. Intense competition periods may demand more aggressive recovery interventions than off-season training. Your sport type also plays a role. A marathon runner's recovery needs will differ from a powerlifter's. Most importantly, pay attention to your individual response. What works for one athlete may not work for another. Experiment with different modalities and track how you feel. Your performance in subsequent training sessions and objective metrics like heart rate variability, HRV, if you use wearables. There's a spectrum of evidence for recovery modalities. Some, like massage and compression, have robust research, while others, like cryotherapy, are still building their scientific foundation but offer significant experiential benefits for many athletes. Building a personalized recovery protocol, integrating recovery into your routine requires intentional planning. Think about frequency, timing, and sequencing. For example, a post-workout cool down followed by compression garments might be effective, with a deep tissue massage scheduled midweek. Contrast bathing could be used after particularly grueling sessions, and a sauna visit might be a weekly ritual. Consistent scheduling, much like training, reinforces the body's recovery cycles. Prioritize modalities that address your specific needs, whether it's reducing DOMS, improving sleep, or managing stress. A word of caution. While these tools can be highly beneficial, it's crucial not to over-rely on them as substitutes for fundamental recovery practices. No amount of cryotherapy or compression can compensate for inadequate sleep, poor nutrition, or excessive training load. Think of recovery modalities as the icing on the cake, enhancing the foundational benefits derived from sufficient rest, a balanced diet, and smart training programming. They are powerful adjuncts, but never replacements for the basics. Heart rate variability, the ultimate readiness metric. HRV score. High readiness, body fully recovered and ready for intense training. HRV score. Moderate readiness, suitable for steady state training, avoid high intensity. HRV score. Low readiness, prioritize recovery, light activity only. Heart rate. Variability, HRV has become one of the most valuable tools in elite athlete training. HRV measures the variation in time between each heartbeat, which is controlled by your autonomic nervous system. When you're well recovered and your body's in a parasympathetic rest and digest state, your HRV is high. When you're stressed, overtrained, or fighting an illness, your HRV drops. Elite athletes measure their HRV every morning using devices like Whoop, or a Ring, or smartphone apps. This gives them objective data about their recovery status. If their HRV is significantly below their baseline, they know to adjust their training, maybe taking an easy day instead of doing that planned high intensity session. This data driven approach to training removes guesswork and ego from the equation, allowing athletes to train optimally based on what their body can actually handle on any given day. The beauty of HRV tracking is that it works for athletes at any level. You don't need to be an Olympian to benefit from understanding your body's readiness to train. Within a few weeks of consistent measurement, you'll establish your personal baseline and learn to recognize patterns. Maybe you notice your HRV drops after poor sleep, or after high stress work days, or when you're not eating enough. Armed with this knowledge, you can make smarter decisions about when to push hard and when to back off, ultimately leading to better long-term progress. Mental training, visualization, and mental rehearsal. Elite athletes don't just train their bodies, they train their minds with equal rigor. One of the most powerful mental training tools is visualization, also called mental rehearsal or imagery. This involves vividly imagining yourself performing your sport or activity, engaging all your senses to make the experience as real as possible. You see yourself executing perfect technique, feel the movements in your body, hear the sounds around you, even smell and taste the environment. Why does this work? Neuroscience research shows that when you vividly imagine performing a movement, your brain activates many of the same neural pathways as when you actually perform that movement. You're essentially getting reps without the physical stress. Olympic athletes use visualization to prepare for competitions, rehearsing their performance hundreds of times mentally before they ever step onto the field, track, or court. This creates neural grooves that make the actual performance feel familiar and automatic. Visualization isn't just for competition day. Elite athletes use it as part of their daily training routine. Before a workout, they might spend 5 to 10 minutes visualizing themselves executing that session perfectly, feeling strong, moving efficiently, achieving their target metrics. This primes their nervous system and creates a mental blueprint for success. And after training, they might replay their best moments, reinforcing positive motor patterns and building confidence. You can start incorporating visualization today. Find a quiet place, close your eyes, and spend 5 to 10 minutes imagining yourself performing at your best. Make it vivid and multisensory. See yourself from both first person and third person perspectives. Feel the sensations in your body. Imagine overcoming challenges with confidence. With consistent practice, visualization becomes a powerful tool for improving performance, managing pre-competition nerves, and building unshakable confidence in your abilities. Goal setting, the elite athlete framework. Outcome goals, performance goals, process goals. Elite athletes structure their goals in 3 distinct layers, each serving a specific purpose. At the top are outcome goals, the big audacious objectives like winning a championship or breaking a record. These provide direction and motivation, but aren't entirely within the athlete's control. The middle layer contains performance goals, specific measurable targets like running a sub 3 hour marathon or squatting twice your body weight. These are more controllable and provide concrete benchmarks for progress. But the foundation, the largest layer of the pyramid, consists of process goals. These are the daily actions and behaviors that lead to success. Completing 4 quality training sessions per week, getting 8 hours of sleep nightly, doing mobility work for 15 minutes daily. Process goals are 100% within your control, and most importantly, they're the actual drivers of improvement. Elite athletes spend most of their mental energy on process goals because they understand that if you consistently execute the processes, the performance and outcome goals take care of themselves. This framework prevents the frustration that comes from fixating on outcomes you can't completely control. You can't control whether you win the race, but you can control whether you show up for every training session prepared to give your best effort. You can't control your competitor's performance, but you can control whether you're executing your race strategy effectively. This shift in focus from outcomes to process is liberating and leads to better performance because you're investing energy in the things you can actually influence. The 1% rule, marginal gains compound. One of the most powerful concepts in elite performance is the aggregation of marginal gains. This idea, popularized by British cycling under performance director Dave Brailsford, suggests that if you improve every aspect of your performance by just 1%, the cumulative effect is enormous. Brailsford's philosophy, implemented when he took charge in 2003, focused on identifying hundreds of tiny improvements rather than searching for one big breakthrough. They optimized everything: the ergonomically designed bike seats, the specific type of massage gel, the way they wash their hands to reduce illness, precise nutrition plans, and even bringing individual pillows for each rider to races for better sleep. Elite athletes don't look for one monumental change. They relentlessly pursue hundreds of tiny improvements across every single domain of their sport and life. Consider the profound impact of compound growth. If you improve by just 1% every single day for a year, you don't just become 365% better, you become approximately 37.78 times better by the end of that year. Mathematically, this is expressed as 1.01 to the power of 365 is approximately 37.78. Conversely, if you get 1% worse every day, you end up almost at zero, 0.99. To the power of 365 is approximately 0.025. This highlights the exponential power of small, consistent actions. Elite athletes apply this thinking to everything: slightly better sleep hygiene, marginally improved dietary choices, a small tweak to their warm up routine, a minor adjustment to their equipment, or incrementally better focus during specific training drills. These seemingly insignificant changes, when accumulated, lead to a dramatic competitive advantage. This philosophy transcends sports. In weightlifting, it could be a 1% improvement in form, leading to fewer injuries and more consistent progressive overload. In basketball, it might be a 1% better free throw routine or a slightly smarter shot selection that adds up over a season. For endurance athletes, optimizing hydration strategy by just a little, refining pacing during critical race segments, or investing a few extra minutes in post-run stretching can shave crucial seconds off performance. The beauty of the marginal gains approach is that it makes improvement feel genuinely achievable. You don't need to overhaul your entire life or make drastic, unsustainable changes. You just need to identify one small thing you can do better today than you did yesterday, and then find another tomorrow. Over weeks, months, and years, these tiny, compounding gains transform into extraordinary results. To effectively identify areas for marginal gains, a thorough audit of your current routines is essential. This involves looking at every aspect of your performance ecosystem: training methodologies, recovery protocols, nutritional intake, sleep patterns, and mental preparation. Ask critical questions like, what is one small aspect of my warm up that could be optimized? Can I replace one unhealthy snack with a healthier alternative? Are there small distractions I can eliminate during my practice? How can I enhance the quality of my sleep by just a few minutes? Recording data and reflecting on what works and what doesn't helps pinpoint these opportunities. Often the biggest gains come from overlooked areas. The psychological benefits of embracing marginal gains are profound. It significantly reduces the overwhelm associated with chasing ambitious outcome goals by breaking them down into manageable, actionable steps. This approach fosters a mindset of continuous improvement where every day presents an opportunity for a small win, building confidence and momentum. Instead of being paralyzed by the gap between where you are and where you want to be, you focus on the immediate, controllable step forward. This constant forward motion, even if tiny, is incredibly motivating and sustainable, fostering resilience against setbacks. Practical implementation involves a holistic approach. For training, focus on minute corrections in technique, optimizing rest periods, or diversifying exercises to target specific weaknesses. For recovery, this could mean stricter adherence to sleep schedules, incorporating dynamic stretching or foam rolling, or using cold therapy. Nutrition involves small, consistent improvements like mindful eating, better meal timing, or ensuring adequate hydration. Mental preparation might include a brief daily visualization practice, structured self talk, or dedicating a few minutes to mindfulness to enhance focus and manage stress. However, it's crucial to approach marginal gains with a balanced perspective. While the pursuit of excellence is commendable, there's a fine line between optimization and perfectionism. Getting lost in an analysis paralysis over insignificant details can become counterproductive. The goal is improvement, not flawless execution of every single microfactor. Recognize when a gain provides diminishing returns or adds unnecessary stress. The marginal gains philosophy is about smart, sustainable progress, not an obsessive quest for impossible perfection. Breathing techniques, primitive power for modern performance. Diaphragmatic breathing, deep belly breathing that fully engages your diaphragm, increasing oxygen uptake and activating the parasympathetic nervous system for enhanced recovery. Box breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Used by Navy SEALs and elite athletes to calm nerves and improve focus before competition. Wim Hof method. Cycles of powerful breathing followed by breath retention proven to enhance stress resilience, immune function, and mental toughness. Breathing is one of the most underutilized performance tools available to athletes. Elite performers understand that how you breathe directly impacts your physiology, psychology, and performance. Different breathing patterns activate different aspects of your nervous system and can be strategically used to either energize or calm your body and mind. During training, proper breathing mechanics can significantly improve performance. Nasal breathing during low intensity work increases nitric oxide production, which improves oxygen delivery to tissues. Rhythmic breathing patterns during running, like a 3-2 pattern, inhale for 3 steps, exhale for 2, reduce injury risk, and improve efficiency. Before high intensity efforts, power breathing techniques can amp up your nervous system and prepare you for maximal effort. After training or before sleep, slow controlled breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, accelerating recovery. Just 5 to 10 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing can lower cortisol levels, reduce muscle tension, and improve heart rate variability. The remarkable thing about breath work is that it's completely free, requires no equipment, and can be done anywhere. It's ancient technology that remains one of the most powerful tools in the elite athlete's arsenal. Cold exposure, building physical and mental resilience. Cold exposure has become increasingly popular among elite athletes, and for good reason. Regular exposure to cold water or air triggers a cascade of physiological adaptations that enhance both performance and recovery. When you immerse yourself in cold, your body responds immediately by initiating vasoconstriction, narrowing blood vessels to shunt blood away from the extremities and toward the core. This natural response helps reduce swelling and inflammation. Beyond this immediate reaction, cold exposure activates brown adipose tissue, BAT, a specialized fat that generates heat by burning calories, which can improve metabolic health and insulin sensitivity. It also stimulates the release of norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter that plays a crucial role in vigilance, focus, pain modulation, and mood regulation. Furthermore, consistent cold exposure may lead to mitochondrial biogenesis, increasing the number and efficiency of mitochondria, the powerhouses of our cells, thereby boosting energy production and overall cellular resilience. But the benefits extend profoundly beyond the physical. Cold exposure is an unparalleled tool for building mental toughness and cultivating a resilient mindset. The initial shock of cold water triggers an acute stress response, challenging your autonomic nervous system. When you consciously choose to step into and remain in this uncomfortable environment, you are actively training your mind to override instinctive fight or flight reactions. This practice hones your ability to stay calm, controlled, and present under duress. Elite athletes recognize that this intentional exposure to discomfort translates directly to high pressure competitive scenarios. The capacity to maintain composure when fatigued, to execute precise movements despite discomfort, or to make critical decisions in chaotic environments all stem from this cultivated mental fortitude. It teaches you to detach from immediate sensations and focus on long term goals, a vital skill in any competitive arena. From enduring a marathon to performing under the glare of championship lights. Practical implementation, protocols, and progression. Starting conservatively is key to safe and effective cold exposure. Begin with cold showers, gradually lowering the temperature during your regular shower. Aim for 30 seconds of cold water initially, focusing on controlled breathing, and progressively increase the duration over weeks to 2 to 3 minutes. As your body adapts, you might progress to more immersive methods. For post-workout recovery, ice baths. Temperatures typically between 50 and 59 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 to 15 degrees Celsius for 10 to 15 minutes are highly effective. For more intense benefits, dedicated needed cold plunges here can be colder, 39 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 to 10 degrees Celsius with shorter durations, 2 to 6 minutes. Consistency is paramount. Many elite athletes incorporate cold exposure 3 to 5 times per week, integrating it as a core component of their recovery and mental training regimen. Always listen to your body and never push to the point of extreme shivering or pain. The science behind cold exposure, mechanisms and recommendations. Research continues to uncover the intricate mechanisms through which cold exposure impacts human physiology. Studies have shown that cold stress induces a beneficial hormetic response, where a small amount of stress makes the body stronger and more adaptive. This involves the upregulation of genes associated with cold shock proteins, which play roles in muscle repair and fat metabolism. The optimal temperature and duration vary based on desired outcomes. For general wellness and metabolic benefits, temperatures between 40 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 to 15 degrees Celsius, for 10 to 15 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week are often recommended. For inflammation reduction immediately after intense exercise, similar temperatures for shorter durations, 5 to 10 minutes, can be effective. Extreme cold methods like whole body cryotherapy, exposing the body to air temperatures as low as negative 200 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 129 degrees Celsius for 2 to 4 minutes, offer a rapid, dry, cold stimulus that can reduce soreness and improve mood, though its long-term physiological benefits compared to water immersion are still under active investigation, and it comes at a higher cost and accessibility barrier. Timing and caution, strategic application. The timing of cold exposure is crucial for maximizing benefits and avoiding unintended consequences. Immediately after strength training. Cold water immersion can blunt some of the anabolic signaling pathways, like mTOR, that are essential for muscle protein synthesis and growth. Therefore, it is generally recommended to wait at least 4 to 6 hours post-strength session before utilizing cold therapy. Conversely, after hard endurance training. Or for general recovery from soreness, cold exposure can be applied immediately to reduce inflammation and accelerate recovery without impacting adaptations. For mental resilience and metabolic benefits, timing is less critical and can be integrated into your routine at any convenient time. Individuals with certain pre-existing medical conditions, such as cardiovascular disease, High blood pressure or Raynaud's phenomenon or severe cold allergies should consult a healthcare professional before engaging in cold exposure. Always ensure a safe environment, especially when using ice baths or cold plunges, and never participate alone. Individual variation and personalization. It's important to acknowledge that responses to cold exposure can vary significantly between individuals. Factors such as genetics, body composition, acclimatization history, and overall health status all influence how one perceives and adapts to cold. What works for one elite athlete may not be optimal for another. Therefore, personalization is key. Start with mild exposure and gradually increase intensity and duration based on your personal comfort, recovery needs, and performance goals. Pay close attention to your body's signals and adjust your protocol accordingly. There is no one size fits all approach. The most effective strategy is one that is sustainable, provides tangible benefits, and aligns with your individual physiological and psychological responses. Experiment with different methods, temperatures, and durations to discover what best supports your unique training program and well being. Heat training, adaptation through stress, plasma volume, expansion. Heat exposure increases blood plasma volume by up to 20%, improving oxygen delivery and cardiovascular performance, even in cool conditions. Improved thermoregulation. Regular heat exposure makes you sweat earlier and more efficiently, helping you maintain optimal body temperature during intense efforts. Heat shock proteins. Heat stress triggers production of heat shock proteins that protect cells, enhance recovery, and may even promote muscle growth. While cold exposure gets a lot of attention, heat training is equally valuable for elite athletes. Deliberate heat exposure through saunas, hot baths, or training in warm conditions creates powerful physiological adaptations that improve performance. The science behind heat training is compelling. When you regularly expose your body to heat stress, it adapts by becoming more efficient at cooling itself, expanding blood volume, and protecting cells from stress. Elite endurance athletes often use heat training protocols in the weeks leading up to important competitions, even if those events will take place in cool conditions. The cardiovascular adaptations from heat exposure, increased plasma volume, improved cardiac output, enhanced blood flow to working muscles, translate to better performance in any temperature. Some research suggests heat training can improve endurance performance by 4 to 8%, which is massive in elite sports where races are often decided by fractions of a percent. Practical implementation. Use a sauna for 15 to 30 minutes, 3 to 4 times per week, ideally post workout when you're already warm. Start conservatively and build tolerance gradually. Alternatively, you can do some of your easy training sessions in warmer conditions or overdress to create heat stress. Stay hydrated and listen to your body. Heat training is a stressor, so it needs to be balanced with adequate recovery. Like cold exposure, heat training is both a physical and mental practice, teaching you to perform effectively in uncomfortable conditions. Technology tools. Elite athletes use daily wearable tracking devices. Devices like Whoop, Oura, Garmin, and Apple Watch provide continuous monitoring of heart rate, HRV, sleep quality, and training load, giving athletes objective data to optimize training and recovery. Power meters. Used in cycling and rowing, power meters measure exact work output in watts, allowing for precise training prescription and pacing strategies that remove guesswork from performance. Video analysis software. High-speed cameras and motion analysis software help athletes and coaches identify technical flaws, track improvements over time, and compare technique to elite standards. Altitude training systems. Altitude tents and masks simulate high altitude conditions, triggering adaptations that improve oxygen carrying capacity and endurance performance at sea level. Neurofeedback devices. EEG based systems train athletes to achieve optimal mental states, improving focus, reducing performance anxiety, and accelerating skill acquisition through enhanced neuroplasticity. Metabolic testing, the VO2 max testing, and metabolic carts precisely determine aerobic capacity and optimal training zones, replacing guesswork with personalized science based training intensities. The modern elite athlete has access to an unprecedented array of technology that provides insights once available only in expensive lab settings. While technology isn't necessary for improvement, these tools allow athletes to train more precisely, recover more effectively, and make data driven decisions about their training. The key is using technology as a tool to enhance your training, not as a replacement for the fundamental work of showing up consistently and putting in the effort. Community and coaching, the social dimension of elite performance. Elite athletes rarely train alone. They surround themselves with coaches, training partners, support staff, and communities of like minded individuals who push them to be better. This social dimension of training is often overlooked but critically important. When you train with others who are pursuing excellence, their standards become your standards. Their commitment inspires your commitment. Their successes show you what's possible. A great coach doesn't just write training plans, they provide accountability, expert feedback, psychological support, and an outside perspective that helps you see your blind spots. Elite athletes view coaching as an investment in accelerated improvement. A coach has seen thousands of athletes develop and can help you avoid common pitfalls while maximizing your strengths. They can also be objective when you can't, pushing you when you need to be pushed and holding you back when you need to recover. Even if you can't afford a personal coach, you can create a training community. Join a local running club, find training partners at your gym, participate in online communities of athletes pursuing similar goals. Share your training data, celebrate each other's victories, and support each other through setbacks. The sense of belonging and shared purpose that comes from training with others is a powerful motivator that will carry you through the inevitable challenges of pursuing high performance. Consistency, the ultimate differentiator. If there's one trait that separates elite athletes from everyone else, it's not talent, genetics, or access to fancy equipment. It's consistency. Elite athletes show up day after day, year after year, executing their training plan, whether they feel motivated or not. They train on the days when they're tired, when the weather is bad, when life is stressful, when they'd rather be doing something else. This unwavering consistency is what allows all the training adaptations to accumulate into exceptional performance. Consistency is built through systems, not motivation. Elite athletes create environments and routines that make training the path of least resistance. They pack their gym bag the night before. They schedule training sessions in their calendar like important meetings. They have backup plans for when life interferes with their primary training plan. They've removed as much friction as possible from the process of showing up because they know that on the days when motivation is low, a good system is what keeps them moving forward. And this is perhaps the most important lesson from elite athletes. You don't need to be motivated every day, but you do need to be consistent. Motivation is an emotion that comes and goes. Consistency is a decision and a discipline. It's choosing to do the work regardless of how you feel. Over time, this consistent execution of the basics, training, sleeping, eating well, recovering, creates compound growth that eventually manifests as elite performance. Start small. Don't try to transform your entire life overnight. Pick one area where you can be more consistent. Maybe it's training 3 times per week without exception. Maybe it's getting 7.5 hours of sleep nightly. Maybe it's doing 10 minutes of mobility work every day. Master that one area of consistency, then add another. Over months and years, these consistent behaviors stack up into transformative results. Elite athletes understand that consistency beats intensity, that showing up at 80% effort every day yields better results than occasional 100% efforts separated by long gaps. Make consistency your competitive advantage. Your elite athlete journey begins now. Assess your current state. Honestly evaluate your current training, nutrition, sleep, and recovery practices. Identify your biggest gaps and opportunities for improvement. Choose one area to focus. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick one area from this episode that resonates most and commit to improving it for the next 30 days. Create your system. Design the environment, routines, and support structures that will make consistency inevitable in your chosen area. Track and adjust. Measure your progress, learn from what works and what doesn't, and refine your approach based on results and how you feel. Stack the wins. Once you've mastered one area, add another. Build momentum through small, consistent victories that compound over time. You now have the blueprint that elite athletes use to reach the top of their sport. The characteristics, strategies, and technologies we've covered aren't secrets, they're proven methods that have been refined over decades of athletic excellence. The question isn't whether these methods work, it's whether you'll apply them consistently enough to see results. Remember, elite athletes aren't superhuman. They're ordinary people who have made extraordinary commitments to excellence. They've learned to embrace discomfort, prioritize recovery, train strategically, and show up consistently day after day. Every single principle we've discussed is available to you right now, regardless of your current fitness level or athletic goals. You don't need to be training for the Olympics to benefit from training like an Olympian. These principles scale to any level of performance. Like the transformation from where you are now to where you want to be won't happen overnight. Elite athletes think in seasons and years, not days and weeks. They understand that meaningful adaptation takes time and consistent effort. But if you apply even a fraction of what we've covered, building your aerobic base, incorporating strength training, prioritizing sleep and recovery, training your mind, pursuing marginal gains, and showing up consistently, you will see remarkable improvements in your performance and, more importantly, in who you become through the process of pursuing excellence. And this is episode 79 of the Peak Performance Podcast. The journey to elite performance starts with a single decision to do something today that your future self will thank you for. What will that be? Choose one thing from this episode and take action on it today. Then tomorrow, show up and do it again. That's how elite athletes are made. One day, one decision, one rep at a time. Thanks for listening, and remember, you're more capable than you think.